We're joined again this morning by Michael Broglio from Broglio Inc. And today we're asking him the question, what happens once you've lodged a claim and you're already in the legal process, but you're dissatisfied with your current attorney's services? Can you pull back? What can you do? He joins us again. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great, thanks, and you?
Always good to have you here. So what happens? I know that you've got a specific case that actually has panned out like that. What happened in that particular case?
Sure. Well, we took over a policeman's case. Let's say his name was David. He was busy pursuing some criminals when an accident took place, got severely injured. He was with a firm of attorneys. He wasn't satisfied with how things are going. And with about 3 months until the trial date, which isn't an ideal time frame, he came to us and asked us to take over the case. We took it over, roped in our experts, and managed to get him a fantastic result. So it can be done, although that's an example where one's doing it perhaps a little bit late.
Mm-hmm. So it can be done. Are there instances where it cannot be done? I mean, I'm kind of asking, when can it be done, when can it not be done, the conditions there?
Look, at the end of the day, you can change attorneys whenever you want. It's not always advisable to do so. There are costs involved. Normally, the new firm, and certainly we do, will take over the responsibility for the previous firm's costs. But there are times, for example, you've got 1 week to go to your trial. It's absolutely impractical for somebody else to take it over. Or you could be with a fantastic firm, but maybe you just have a personality clash with one of the lawyers. You could ask to be assigned to one of the other lawyers on their team. Mm-hmm. That can happen. I would say where you do it is where A, your case is taking too long. It's 6, 7 years, nothing is happening. Mm-hmm. B, you get a sense that your attorneys are not familiar with how to handle these matters in court. They're trying to get a settlement, they can't get a settlement, and they're now banging on, begging for a settlement instead of just taking the matter to court and getting results. C, perhaps they're not sending you along to a whole lot of experts. Yeah. If they're sending you to experts, there's a trial date coming. Those are all signs that something good is happening in your case and progress has been made. If you see that no progress has been made in your case or it's gone on for too long, that's when you need to take things up. But, to answer your question again, yes, you can change at any time, but it's not always advisable at the last second.
Yeah. So what does one then do? How do you start off the process?
Basically, you would initiate contact with new attorneys, and I'd always suggest that you research them first, for example, on the internet, use Google, and find out more, see what results they've achieved, whether they're going to be able to help you or not. Then see whether they're prepared to take on your case. Sometimes they might say, well, it's too close to the trial date, we're not going to take it over. What may not be viable to take over for other reasons. Sometimes a person believes that they have a fantastic case and are doubting the advice of their current attorney, but the advice of their current attorney is perfectly sound and perfectly correct, and you decline to take it over. But in short, you basically approach the attorney will decide whether to take on that case or not. If they say they're going to take on the case, they will write to the previous attorneys. They'll say, we're taking over. At that time, the previous attorneys are no longer allowed to contact you, and you proceed with the case with your new attorneys, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah. So in your instance, you took on a case that was 3 months just before it went to settlement, and obviously by that time, the previous law firm that has handled the case has incurred a lot of costs. Whose responsibility is it then to reimburse that firm?
Realistically, it's the client's responsibility, but that's something that the client can arrange with the firm. For example, when my firm takes over a matter, we would make sure that we're responsible and the client's not going to incur any extra fees over and above that other than what work we do. So we would sort that out with the other firm, but that's something that somebody should make sure that they cater for when canvassing a new attorney for them to take over that and just arrange that. But it's not always true either that the costs are huge. In some cases, a firm may have had a case for many years and done very little with it. Some firms may have had a case for a very short time and done a lot with it. So it really depends on whether or not you've got specialists handling it. If you had specialists handling it, it's probably a lot of work that's been done, and usually it would probably have been done properly. Yeah. Your problems normally run into it when somebody is trying to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that's not really suited to this type of legal claim.
Yeah, well, thank you very much once again. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
So I think, as Michael would say, it is advisable from the beginning to go with the expert who has the knowledge in that particular field. If you're dealing with road accident funds, go to that kind of expert. But if you are dissatisfied with your service, you are always allowed to change, as he said. More information on our website. He'll be joining us again next week.
Stay with eXpresso and SABC3.